What is good, my pack rats? Pacmancase here with you guys. Guys, I have had a crazy 4 months. I started out by deciding to leave Washington State, move over here to South Carolina, and in the time, obviously we stayed in Vegas for a little bit. If you guys have not seen that video about the trip from hell, go check it out. It's the last video that I posted. It was wild. It was just insane. But since I've been back, I got to experience the Southeast Game Exchange, which is fantastic. I got to meet a lot of people that I had not met yet, which was very cool. Shout out GameCube Galaxy, go check that channel out. Also go check out Retro Beard right now. He does these awesome fabricated signs that are of our favorite console logos. And I'm telling you now, dude, I'm totally in love with it. I love your stuff, Adam. Guys, head over to his Instagram page, check out what he does, and make sure to hit him up at a convention because it is fantastic. So aside from that though, I've been trying to get the game room ready, trying to work on it. I did get a room tour with Sir Retro Rick, so thank you, Rick, for that. I appreciate it. But that room tour was like 40% done. So what Rick was able to share with you guys, I feel like you were robbed of the full experience. So as I continue to work on this game room, I definitely want to give you guys updates. I want to make sure that you are filled in on what I've got going on the channel, what we're working on within the game room. And then I normally stopped doing pickups about a couple years ago. But I might want to start that up again. I want to really showcase the things that I love and that I picked up on the collection. So really what this current video is for is a quick update for you guys, but also to go over a trip that I just made back to Washington for work. And I ended up snagging some stuff at a local convention that was going on there, as well as some of my local game stores. And funny enough, before I left for South Carolina, I had some trade-in credit at a local store called Another Castle, and I went over there and picked up a couple cool things too. So anyway, I want to share these with you guys. Hang out with me. Let's talk about some rad retro gaming and nerdy stuff, and we'll have a blast. So funny enough, when you travel and you end up going game hunting, a lot of times your SOL, when it ends up getting that stuff back to you. And this was obviously my first experience at doing that since I was in Washington, moving my way back to Greenville. But I ended up picking up a literal suitcase worth of stuff. And I say suitcase because the only way that I think cost effectively you can get that much stuff over is if you grab a second suitcase and pay for a check-in luggage. Now, if you're going to bundle up something as big as a suitcase full of retro video games, if you're gonna ship that shipping cost can be anywhere from $40 up to like $75 based on weight. But with a very delicately packed suitcase, you can actually get a large number of stuff in there. And I actually picked up a game console when I was in Washington at the Renton City Retro Expo. So I knew I had to make sure to pack this stuff very safely. But I highly recommend, if you guys are going to travel, bring or purchase like a Goodwill suitcase, fill that sucker up, check the baggage, and then when it arrives for you on the other side, then you've got your games. You've got everything that you've brought with you. So I highly recommend it. I think it's a really good tip, especially if you are trying to game hunt out of state. So one of the first things that I picked up when I was over in Washington was House of the Dead. This is the House of the Dead remake on the Nintendo Switch. Now, I've heard mixed reviews due to the way that the Joy-Cons and the sensor work. Basically on light gun games, it normally is a sensor that shows you where your pixel is on the CRT. And now with the remakes, a lot of these are gonna be cursor pointers. And so I haven't jumped into this, but I've heard that it's kind of mixed reviews because of that gameplay mechanic, but I am excited to break this seal and check it out. If you guys haven't played House of the Dead, very, very cool game. Zombies are coming at you. You're pumping them full of lead on an on-rail shooter, and it is one of the best, if not the best, shooter for light gun games that was ever created. you guys are a light gun fan, House of the Dead remake on the Switch is probably one that you want for the collection because I added it to mine. Next up, I had a recommendation on my Nintendo Switch collection video to pick up Gang Beasts. Now, I have not played Gang Beasts yet, but somebody told me that it is a riot, especially for multiplayer. Just lots of fun antics, crazy things go on with your characters. And so this is supposed to be a great game for the Nintendo Switch, so I added that one to the collection when I was in Washington as well. In Washington, regionally, Nintendo and Microsoft were both located there. And so sometimes you get some really cool drop-offs at the thrift stores. Also, if you guys are not familiar, Target, when they eliminate their clearance items or they get rid of bundles of games, normally they'll send them over to Goodwill. Check the sticker. It's going to be called T-Wares on the back of the price sticker. And if it's T-Wares, then you know it came from Target, and it's basically a discounted copy of whatever game they clearanced out. So I found over at the Target when I was in Washington a copy of Burnout Paradise on the Switch. I love the Burnout series. Funny enough, in the newest video that I just did, the racing arcade favorites, I did not throw in Burnout because it wasn't part of the 360 of the game that I love, which is Burnout 3. There has been many iterations of Burnout, but Burnout 3 Takedown has been my favorite Burnout game, so that's why it wasn't on the list. But they did do a pretty solid title called Burnout Paradise, which is an open world version of the Burnout games, which is still pretty fun, especially if you love crashing into people and you just love arcade racers. So I picked up Burnout Paradise on Switch. Guys, another Goodwill find is Balan the Wonder World. I'm probably saying that wrong, but all I heard was a bunch of crappy stuff on this. I got this one for $9.99. It's probably not even worth that, but at this point, picking up a sealed Xbox game for 10 bucks, I thought I'd give it a whirl. I have heard nothing but garbage reviews on this game, so it might not even be worth it to have in the collection, but we wanted to give it a try. If you guys have been watching the channel for a long time, you know I'm a huge wrestling fan, especially back in the early 2000s and late 90s. There was some phenomenal wrestling games and just great wrestling on television at the time. Since then, though, I've always kind of gravitated towards some unique wrestling titles. So you know they always come out with the 2K series. I've never been a real fan of that, but there's a game called WWE All-Stars that I highly recommend that you pick up if you love wrestling. It is an arcade-style brawler with awesome special moves and a lot of classic characters. Well, they tried to redo it with the same formula on Battlegrounds for the Xbox, and I would say it's an okay title. It's not as good as All-Stars, but it still has some charm to it. So again, I picked this guy up, T-Wares. This was a clearance title at Target that I got from Goodwill. A couple quick ones that I picked up as well at the Goodwill. Again, clearance Target title. So there was just a bunch of PlayStation 4, Xbox, and Switch games there. I found 2K22, which is the newest basketball game from the 2K series. Picked that guy up. Also got Super Monkey Ball Banana Blitz on the PlayStation 4. Love the Monkey Ball series. And then I also snagged Rocket Arena. I don't know about this game, but for, I think this one was 10 bucks for a sealed Xbox game. I'd give it a go. So guys, video games aren't the only thing that I collect. Obviously, that's kind of my passion, but I also am a huge fan of the early 2000s and late 90s toy lines from some of the cartoon series that I absolutely loved as well, or TV shows or movies. And so I always find myself heading into Target or Walmart, and I check their clearance section out, and I check their new action figure lines just to see if there's anything new or fun since they've been kind of blasting that 90s stuff lately. So one of the first ones up is the Power Rangers release of the ninja costumes from the original Power Rangers movie.
Adam? Adam, what's wrong?
My frog.
I so far have only found Billy and Kimberly, the pink and the blue ranger, but both of these are ones that I would love to complete a set of because I have been a huge fan of the Power Ranger series, as well as these characters just bring a lot of fun memories and joy. So check these out at your local stores because they are clearanced right now at Walmart and Target. So I stayed at my folks' house for the trip. I was there for 2 weeks in Washington, and mom started bringing out some of my old stuff from my childhood, and she found an old Wizard magazine. I loved this. This was the way I kept up on comics back in the day. Obviously, we got the internet, but back then, man, the Wizards books were awesome. They gave you really good insight on the comic series, the storytelling that was happening, but also just really cool artwork inside of them too. So I snagged an old Wizard magazine. When I was in my hometown, they have this new antique shop, and it's basically a consignment shop with 40 different vendors, but one of the vendors was doing 40% off of their action figures and their comic books. So I ended up snagging Gambit in the external comic books. It looks like there's a series of 4 in here. I think they only wanted like $3 for it. So that's another thing, guys. Go check out antique shops. Sometimes, especially vinyl and comic books, you're gonna find a lot of them there. Video games are pretty scarce these days. There will be some vendors, but most of them know what they have in the case. You're probably gonna be paying a little under retail value or right at, but the comics and the records are normally dirt cheap. So that is a huge tip when you guys are looking for this type of stuff. But I'm a huge fan of Gambit. I named my son Remy, so give me a break, right? But I got some comic books there. And then this was cool. This was probably the coolest find of my trip to Washington. And again, 40% off of these really awesome action figures. And I ended up finding this Tomb Raider Lara Croft Conquers the Legendary Yeti. It's basically like a giant action figure statuette here with a Yeti character and Lara Croft climbing this tower. So anyway, this was, I mean, you know, this probably would have been anywhere from 30 or 40 bucks in the toy store. So I'm pretty sure I got it for 10, which was an amazing deal. So really cool to be able to pick this guy up. So I told you guys that I had some store credit at a local retro game shop. I had traded in some stuff that was just Snickle Fritz right before I left town, and I ended up adding Mega Man 4 to the collection. I am trying to get all the Mega Man games, and right now I think I'm missing 5, which is very rare, and I'm missing number 1. So once I have those, then I'll have all 6 Mega Mans for the NES. And then I also snagged this awesome collector's edition, pretty pricey, but like I said, I had trade-in credit for the Mega Man Wily Wars collector's edition. So if you guys aren't familiar with this came out, it was a Sega game that was released called the Wily Wars for Mega Man, and this collection, which is still sealed. I'm debating popping the seal because I want to see everything that's in here. It has all of these cool like artworks and pieces and extra collectibles, but Wily Wars and the Mega Man, which is an awesome one to add to the collection. And again, guys, I'm still on the hunt for action figures and toys of the past. Right now, I have a collection going of Sabertooth figures. Very, very rare for Sabertooth from the X-Men series, Wolverine's primary nemesis. For you to find characters, action figures and busts and various merchandise from him is very rare. So when I come across this stuff, which the Marvel Legends released a new set of Sabertooth, I ended up picking him up. This is my favorite rendition of his comic suit, which was from kind of the 90s cartoons. So if you guys are watching this and you come across anything that is related to Sabertooth, let me know, because I would absolutely love to check it out. So Sabertooth, my favorite villain from the Marvel series, especially X-Men, and I'm adding this one to the collection and the shelf in the new production room, which I will give more detailed explanation about later. Guys, last in my suitcase that I picked up was a Sega Saturn Japanese version, which is the white version of the Sega Saturn. I have had my eye on this for quite some time. I love the way the Sega Saturn looks. I absolutely love the white that they decided to go with on this. I know we didn't get this here in the States, so the Japanese one is awesome. I was at this convention called the Renton City Retro. Guys, go check it out. It's going to be a bigger and bigger show. I think it'll probably be the primary one in Washington going forward. But we've got Sega Saturn, Japanese Sega Saturn, and then he went ahead and he threw in not one, but 2 controllers, and these guys go for anywhere from about $24 to $35. So I got a pretty damn good deal on this guy, and I stowed it away with me on my trip. So it was an awesome find. Oh, Pack Rats, that is my pickups for when I went over to Washington. And I'm sorry, I didn't film a lot of footage over there. A lot of time I do pull my camera out and I do have footage going all the time, but there are those times that you want to just experience the moment and just go browse and shop without needing the content creation, which hurts me in the long run because I'd love to show you guys more footage. But overall, awesome pickups. What a great trip over there. I got to hang out with the friends that I love. I got to see people that I care about. My dog is scratching himself. It was a good trip for me to be able to see everybody, but I missed my new home of South Carolina. I couldn't wait to get back, see my family, see my kiddos, and be able to continue to work on this game room slash nerd room slash collector's haven, whatever we want to call it. I've got some big plans set up, guys. We are going to be working on updating the game room. I've got TVs to mount. I've got audio systems to install. I've got a lot of cool things that I want to showcase that if you saw Retro Rick's video, I was not able to do. I had 2 weeks to get everything done by the time that Rick came in here. So it is a shell of what I would love this game room to be. And I really hope that you guys stick around and hang out and chill with me as we continue to produce more content for the show now that we're a little bit more settled here in good old South Carolina. Guys, if you like what I got going on, you like this type of content, hit that subscribe button for me. I really appreciate it. Any of my new subscribers, guys, thanks for coming, checking out the channel. Really good to see you. Welcome to the Pack Rats, and let's keep it going, guys. Till the next video. Later.